For nearly a decade, Evelyn Hart reigned supreme as America's most beloved actress. From indie dramas to box office giants, her performances brought critics to tears and fans to their feet. She was the first woman to win back-to-back Academy Awards since Katharine Hepburn. Talk show hosts called her the heartbeat of Hollywood. But beneath her elegant red carpet smiles and UNICEF ambassador speeches was a secret that would dismantle everything the world believed about goodness, fame, and trust. It started quietly, almost unnoticeably, in 2003. Across Eastern Europe and Southeast Asia, local police stations were reporting an unusual rise in missing persons, mostly girls and boys between the ages of 10 and 17. The cases were sporadic, stretched across different borders, and most authorities assumed they were isolated incidents. But one Europol agent, Anna Kovac, saw a pattern. The disappearances followed the path of something else entirely, the international promo tour of Evelyn Hart's humanitarian charity, Heart for Humanity. While the rest of the world was swept up in Evelyn's acclaimed performance in Whispers in the Dust, a gritty tale of a mother searching for her kidnapped child, Anna began building a case. It wasn't easy. Evelyn's public image was untouchable. Photos of her comforting orphan children in Romania and speaking at the UN on human rights played on a loop on television. Donations to Heart for Humanity reached $100 million that year. Meanwhile, U.S. investigators, working an entirely different angle, believed they had a suspect. Dante Cruz, a former drug kingpin turned ghost, had resurfaced in Albania. Surveillance showed him at ports, airstrips, and abandoned warehouses near where some victims were last seen. It was a perfect fit. His criminal history, his connections, his silence. 4 months, the FBI and Interpol focused on Dante, convinced he was the head of a revived trafficking syndicate. But then something happened that changed everything. An encrypted call was intercepted between Dante and a man only identified as Broker 7. The call was short. Dante was frustrated. "I did what she asked. I moved the pieces. But they're getting close. You promised protection." Authorities were stunned. She? Who is she? The pieces began to fall into place when Anna Kovac was given access to Dante's most recent locations. They matched not only the disappearance zones, but also the exact event dates of Evelyn Hart's global goodwill appearances. The coincidence became impossible to ignore. Digging deeper into Heart for Humanity's finances revealed something even more damning. A private estate in southern France listed under a shell corporation tied to the charity. It had been visited regularly by VIPs and by Evelyn herself under aliases. A joint raid was authorized. What they found behind the polished marble walls of the vineyard would haunt the most hardened agents for the rest of their lives. Beneath the wine cellar, concealed behind refrigerated storage units, was a hidden underground compound. Inside were 11 abducted teenagers, malnourished and sedated, held in what could only be described as modern-day cages. Photos of Evelyn were found in the rooms, not as captor, but as savior. She had groomed them to believe she was rescuing them. Some called her an angel. Others whispered that she was selling miracles, at a price. The arrest came in May 2004, during a televised UNICEF event in Vienna. As she stood in a white gown beside the Secretary General, police swarmed the stage. The world froze. Gasps, screams, and flashbulbs erupted as Evelyn Hart, the world's darling, was handcuffed on live television. "I was trying to save them," she said softly, almost dreamlike as the cameras captured her pale, unreadable face. They were already forgotten. The trial that followed became a global obsession. Prosecutors painted a horrifying portrait. Evelyn used her stardom and charity to select and traffic vulnerable children under the guise of compassion. She would personally visit orphanages, relief camps, and schools, identifying the ones no one would miss. Heart for Humanity was a lie, a meticulously constructed funnel for modern slavery, masked in red carpets and roses. But what shook the world most was her performance on the stand. Eloquent, unapologetic. "I gave them a future," she said in court. "You think you're angry because I hurt them. You're angry because you loved me." The jury deliberated for less than 5 hours. Guilty on all counts. Evelyn Hart was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Hollywood was devastated. Directors pulled her films. Award shows redacted her name. Former co-stars sobbed in interviews, grappling with the betrayal. The public, once enchanted by her image, now referred to her as the Black Dahlia of the 21st century. Years later, a guard at her maximum security prison in Norway revealed she kept a single item in her cell, a pressed white rose, laminated behind glass. She would look at it every night before bed and say the same words. "They still love me. Somewhere, someone still loves me."